everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is VidLift. It's a place where we help each other grow and make each other's videos better. It's a really cool thing. It's so cool that you're here with us tonight. We have with us Lance from Boondocking with Boomer. We have Donovan from RV on the Wayside, and we have Dave from Texas Family Camping. Let's have Dave. Tell us a little about yourself, would you please?
All right. Hopefully everything's looking a little bit better. Just rebooted because I think my internet was having some problems there. My name is Dave. I'm from Texas Family Camping. I also have a now new sister channel called Texas Family Live, where we do some live streams. So like this show next Tuesday on Texas Family Camping, we do talks and discussions and videos about everything to do with camping, from starting a campfire to picking out an RV, setting up a tent, all that jazz. So on to the next guy.
Thanks for being with us, Dave. Then we've got this fella who currently looks like he's in a library. Donovan, where are you? It's okay. I'll unmute you. Have you done a live stream before, Donovan?
This is my living room background. It's still a green screen. It's my real room. And you look just as beautiful as always, David. You didn't need a restart. RV on the Wayside, that's our channel. Yes, we haven't made a video except for VidLift for about a month and a half. And I keep promising and milking the fact that eventually there'll be one. And so unless you just want to see old videos that are funny, don't come see me.
Okay, I won't.
And finally, guys, we've been working so hard and we finally got rid of Steve Turtle. That is not true. I apologize. He will be back. No, Steve did a great job. But in Steve's absence, I have been fortunate enough that Lance from Boondocking with Boomer has joined us from way up north. Lance, where are you?
I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, way up north. And yet it's like 88 degrees here. So.
And what is that? There's something behind you. What is that?
That is the emergency phone. I can't say who it's to, but if there's a call there, I will have to take it, guys. Okay, just so you know.
Yeah. That seems important.
Yes,
wow.
That's very important. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So y'all, the format, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to watch a 1-minute video clip from Loving Life Hitched Up. If you don't know that channel, you definitely want to go check them out. We're going to watch a 1-minute clip. Lance will tell us a couple of things that he caught in there that he's going to steal and use in his videos, a couple of things that he might suggest that they try and do a little differently. Then Donovan will take a turn, Dave will take a turn, and then I'll take a turn. And then we'll all watch the 1-minute clip again and see if we all notice those things. We'll also be watching, I'm watching you guys in the chat live. We'll be watching the chat, and if there's anything you guys want to share, we'll take a look at that as well. And if you have questions, ask those, and we'll watch those, and we'll try to discuss those. And then we'll do a roundtable discussion after all of that. Lance, Dave, Donovan, do you guys have anything before we go ahead and start this first video? Time out. Since I'm the host, why don't I stop asking you questions? I'll tell you. Guys, we would really appreciate if you'd be willing to share a video with us that we could watch on a future episode of VidLift. All we need is just a link and a link to a video of yours, and tell us the 1-minute segment you'd be willing to let us take a look at. And you're going to send it to vidliftinfo@gmail.com. So send us just a link to a video that you've got out on the YouTubes and tell us what 1-minute segment you'd like us to watch. 1 minute to minute number 2, or 13:35 to 14:35, wherever that part is. And here's the thing. It could be the part of the video that you think is really awesome and you want to share it and see if we think it's awesome too. And maybe we can all learn some really cool things that you've got going on in your video. Or maybe you'll just share it and say, guys, I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do with this. And you share it and we say, here's some cool stuff. And here's some things we might would do differently. And either way, share what you're willing to share, and we will be happy to review it here on this program. Now, back to my question. Lance, Dave, Donovan, do you have anything to share before we run this first video?
You did such a good job with that. I still put it in the chat.
Man, you're awesome. You're like a moderator in the midst of the stream. That's awesome. Thank you for moderating.
Never
What I've
crossed the street.
seen, and for what I've seen so far, Scott, you're much better than Donovan. So that's easy. Yeah. No.
Y'all go to the
What a
RV on the
start.
Wayside. Go over to RV on the Wayside and watch his new video if you've not seen it yet. It's great. We're going to start tonight. Our first clip is from Loving Life Hitched Up. Red and TJ were kind enough to share this video clip with us, and what they're doing, they're talking about boondocking. They're giving some tips on boondocking, and the segment we're going to watch is just a little bit about water in boondocking. So let's watch this 1 minute clip, and if you catch things that you like or would suggest different, go ahead and comment that in the chat, and we'll all learn together. Here's Loving Life Hitched Up.
These are just your basic boondocking tips to get you started on boondocking if you've never done it before. Definitely not going to be an all-inclusive list for those folks out there doing technical boondocking that are really out there, challenging circumstances, challenging locations. This will get you through those parking lots or those first few times when you're not sure how it goes, to maybe one day you can learn how to live off the grid for months at a time.
We can't survive without water, so make sure that when you're boondocking, you know exactly where to get some drinkable water. If you're not sure where you're going to get drinkable water, err on the side of caution and fill up your freshwater tank before you leave. The key to boondocking is knowing how to save water, so we're going to give you some tips that we use to save water. Something we do to conserve water when we're boondocking is we take sailor showers.
Or PT showers, as we call them in the Marine Corps. That comprises of quickly getting yourself wet, lathering up, then rinsing off. But the key to that is turning the water off in between each of those stages.
Guess you can't do the hair when it's like that.
Maybe not that hair, but this hair you can.
So what we're going to do now, we're each going to take turns sharing a couple things that we liked in the video, a couple things we would suggest that they try in the video, but super big thanks to Red and TJ for sharing that with us. First up, Lance, why don't you go first and just take a couple minutes and tell us what you pulled out of there.
They definitely. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it was very informative what they talked about for sure, and I think they organized it well. You know, the steps for sure of what they're doing for boondocking. That's my two: informative and very organized.
Did you have any suggestions?
I have suggestions too. Yeah, I would add a bit of soothing music in the background. That would be good, right? And I would add some more B-roll video and less pictures to the video, right? Add some more video.
Okay.
Lance, what do you mean when you say B-roll video? What would you do there?
Like in the background, they were showing pictures of the RV, and I would suggest like doing the video on their green screen instead of just solid pictures, right? And then adding some nice soothing music.
Those are great tips.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lance. What you got, Donovan?
First, I loved the moving green screen. I really did like that. I thought that was kind of cool. You don't see that very often. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. And the hair joke, it was good. I mean, that's their style. And when they're being informative and they just kind of slide it in there, they smile a little bit and they keep going. I like the way they do that. I kind of thought maybe the rule of thirds might come into play on this one. They're in the middle for most of the shots during the minute that we looked at. And it'd been nice to see them maybe even a little short, a little smaller and off to one side or the other as far as that goes, just so that we could see some more of what they were showing that was in the centerpiece. And along with that, I thought when they would pop in and pop out, especially when TJ when TJ did it twice, right? I mean, Red, when she popped in twice, she kind of just disappeared and then reappeared. I'd rather see you either just make that cut clean, so you just shifted right away and kept going, or maybe you did a little dissolve, like you slid over or something like that, but the cut felt just a little breaking is all. So that's a couple of each.
Can you take a second, Donovan, when you said rule of thirds? By the way, when I'm asking Lance and Donovan, what do you mean by this? It's not that I'm trying to help the audience. It's that I'm dumb and I need help learning. So Donovan, when you say rule of thirds, what do you mean by that?
So when you make a video, you should break it up in a graph of 9 squares. And the rule of thirds gives you these 3 rows. So if I shifted myself over here and now the video's playing over there, you can see the main part of the video going while I'm off to the side. And that allows, because I'm actually not the important part of this. It's actually what you're showing should be the sensitive part of the video. And then later on, maybe you're on this side. And also, if you're a little smaller, you can even see more of the screen if you go down into that third quadrant and lower also. So the rule of thirds is breaking it up into 3 parts.
Great tip, Donovan. Thank you so much. Dave, what did you catch in there?
All right. So first and foremost, I definitely can relate to conserving water and not washing the hair, because, man, that does take a lot of water as well as other things. Lance knows. You other two, you have no idea. Anyway, so I liked the creativity where they used the green screen. I like the fact that they tried something different. It's obviously a 50-50 on this. Some people like it, some people don't. What I thought was really neat and clever was you try something a little different. Whereas, like Lance was saying, adding some B-roll in, y'all tried something a little different where you were talking in front of the B-roll. And I thought that was neat and clever. However, I am on the side of I don't like the green screen, but it's literally a personal preference. This is where it's an opinion and it's not necessarily like a fact. So don't take that as you did something wrong. I'm the kind of person, like, I like to be in the outdoors. I like to film in the outdoors, and I like to record my audio in the outdoors. And I can speak from personal experience on this one. One of the things that bothered me, I think, the most was the echo in your voiceover. Can you call it a voiceover? Because you were present on camera. At any rate, I have done those myself, and it drives me batty when I go back and listen to my videos where I've done those from right here in this room, and I hear the echo. And so I'm kind of the point now where when I go out to a state park or whatever, I will sit there and just record as much talking as possible, because I like the harmonics. I like how it sounds better when I'm outdoors. So if you can try to get everything outdoors, you want to, but I did notice in the chat, it looks like you guys there were some issues that were going on. Maybe you had to reshoot or something like that, and you were no longer on scene. So props to y'all for trying something new and different to make up for whatever it is that happened. That's cool.
I thought that was a really neat technique, because when you're not full timers, there comes a point in the season where you're not traveling anymore and you want to be consistent and keep putting out videos. I thought that was a neat technique to do that. And I'm with you, Dave, that the preference would be, while I'm on site, let's record this video. But sometimes you get 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead with your videos, and that trip might have been a month or two ago. And then you go, oh no, we need something for next week. We don't have anything. That was a really smart way to do it. I'm with Lance, though, that I think I would have tried to take some of the B-roll and match it up with what you were saying. Like when you started talking about water and your source for water, I think I would have liked to see, where's that source for water? Show me a spigot. Show me you hooking up the water. What was actually on the screen when you said that was your bicycle mount on your RV. So it just didn't always match. And like Donovan was saying, some of the transitions didn't line up. When Red was on the screen, she'd go away and she'd come back. Like he said, that could have been a clear cut from one thing to the next, or you could have put something in between there. That could have been, you could have brought that B-roll to the front, let it play for a minute, and then come back and then do the next talking head. Or like I said, it could have been just a clean cut. But sometimes the transition from one talking head to the next talking head didn't line up exactly with the transition in the green screen. It was clear that it was trying to change all at the same time. And sometimes it's hard to get in there and get that nitty gritty. But if we're looking for the details, that's definitely a detail that you want to go in and get it fine tuned to where all of that changes right at exactly the same time. And I'm with Lance that I think I would have liked to have had some music in there, nothing major, just something to keep it moving, because there was some silence, and that would have kept everything moving for the video to go forward. There was something else I wanted to share before we watch it again. It was if Steve was here, he would talk to us about tags and SEO. But one super smart thing you did as a travel vlog, only so many people are going to log in and look for a travel vlog. You did a how-to or a how can I or how do you. Those things are what people are searching for. When you think about RV, that's what people are searching for. How do I do this on the RV? You know, I'm going boondocking for the first time. How do I do that? So it's cool that you guys did such a great job with that. What we're going to do now, I see there are some cool things happening in the chat, and I'm making notes of those. We're going to come back to those in just a second. But right now, we're all going to go back and watch that 1-minute clip again. And in the chat right now, if you catch some of the things that we just talked about, share it as we go back through. If you catch some new things, go ahead and share it, and then we'll talk about it as a roundtable, all four of us here in just a minute. And while we're doing this, somebody said earlier, if you're learning something, hit the thumbs up. So do that. If you're learning something, hit the thumbs up. And if you're not learning anything, hit the thumbs down 2 times. That way you'll really show us. Here's that clip again from Loving Life Hitched Up.
These are just your basic boondocking tips to get you started on boondocking if you've never done it before. Definitely not going to be an all-inclusive list for those folks out there doing technical boondocking that are really out there, challenging circumstances, challenging locations. This will get you through those parking lots or those first few times when you're not sure how it goes, to maybe one day you can learn how to live off the grid for months at a time.
We can't survive without water. So make sure that when you're boondocking, you know exactly where to get some drinkable water. If you're not sure where you're going to get drinkable water, err on the side of caution and fill up your freshwater tank before you leave. The key to boondocking is knowing how to save water. So we're going to give you some tips that we use to save water. Something we do to conserve water when we're boondocking is we take sailor showers.
Or PT showers, as we call them in the Marine Corps. That comprises of quickly getting yourself wet, lathering up, then rinsing off. But the key to that is turning the water off in between each of those stages.
Guess you can't do the hair when it's like that.
Maybe not that hair, but this hair you can.
Man, yeah, I'm watching in the chat, and I do want to say, before we get too much farther, that Red and TJ have commented that they did what Dave was saying. They had this whole video from that trip, and it was they were all set, and then it got compromised. We've all been there. And Jag said that they like to stay a few weeks ahead in case they have trouble coming up with content. That way they're not scrambling at the last minute. Y'all, let's do some chatting together here about what you saw. Is anybody else? Ants, where are you going?
I gotta take a motorcycle ride. I'll be right back. It was really loud. Sorry, the window's open.
So there's been some discussion from us and some discussion in the chat about the green screen. And I know, Donovan, based on your latest video, you really have some green screen tips. One thing I noticed as you're looking at the screen, as on the viewer's left side of the screen, there was a little shadow over there. And, if you don't have 15 bajillion studio lights to address that, it could be really distracting. Donovan, in your typical green screen setup, what would you do to make that shadow not be there?
Well, when someone watches my video, like after I post it, you'll know that the key is actually have the same color have lights that are behind where you're sitting and have the same hue of the area that you're going to be recording. If it's all about the same brightness and this without seeing anything a little brighter, a little darker, or it's too low or it's too high, if you can get the same hue, then that your backlighting will not have any black spots or anything.
So when you say that the same hue, you're just saying like consistency of there needs to be light everywhere.
It needs to be the same color. So like you don't want a darker green and a lighter green. You want that same green, no matter what color, however you set up your lights. You want a solid same shade of whatever that is.
So if I'm in my house and I've got my green screen set up and I see that I've got a shadow, can I just go to the living room and grab a lamp, take the shade off and put it there and get rid of that shadow? Would that do it?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It just needs to be behind you, right? That's all.
Cool. So that would definitely take that away. And I see Loving Life Hitched Up said in the chat that they did have music, but it didn't seem to add to it. It could have just been the choice of music. I think getting rid of those silences, that would have propelled the video forward. That would have been cool. But yeah, I mean, y'all are doing all the right stuff. Dave, what else you got?
Well, I was watching it the second time around. Now that they've said the video was compromised and the imagination was just going wild, like, what do you mean it was compromised? But I did notice that they were out in a very wide open space. So I'm willing to bet, if I was a betting man, I'm not, that the wind, they probably had no idea that everything they recorded probably sounded like, and so when they went to sit down and edit it, they're like, well, crud, we can't use this. That's just my guess. I'm just guessing.
We lost a whole video. We went to the USS Yorktown in Charleston, South Carolina, and they've got an amazing Vietnam exhibit. We went, we did a whole thing there, and we had talked to some of the higher ups there, and they really helped us out. They hooked us up with the volunteer coordinator, interviewed with us and stuff. And we told them, yeah, we're going to do a video about the ship and a whole nother video about this experience you've got here because it's so cool. And then I had to email them and say, y'all, the wind wanted to be the star of the show, and we can't do it. So we've lost that whole video. I mean, I've got all the video, but there's nothing we can do with the audio. So Dave, I know you've got these really nice clip-on mics. Is there an in-between, like when I take my phone and I lose that video because the wind was too bad, and the really fancy thing that you've got, is there something that would work for that?
You mean like something that doesn't cost $200? Is that what you're implying?
Yes, no, I'm not implying it. I'm saying that.
Well, I don't have it in here. It's out in the RV. The Video Micro Go, which is about $60, which has on it the dead cat. I don't know if you've watched any how-to videos. I'm sure you've heard the reference of the dead cat. My kids hate that, but that dead cat is actually to help cut down on the wind noise. It'll still be there, but if it's a good and decent mic, it's going to help. This one, I think, I get it right on my throat. I tend to wind up with a little too much bass. If I've noticed in watching my videos is that even when there is highway noise, wind noise, or whatever, I'm still able to clearly hear what I said. So I guess, that's how much are you willing to pay for that?
I agree with Dave about it was very echo because they were recording this in a studio. So if they had those little microphones, that would get rid of it for sure. If you're in a studio recording in a large room, and that's what it sounded like, getting a couple of those little microphones that goes on your shirt, that would sound a lot better.
What do you use, Lance?
I just use my camera. I mean, my power cam doesn't. I don't get any wind noise from outdoor, and I don't get any from the inside as well. So
just motorcycles.
Yeah, just motorcycles. This is a webcam I'm using on here.
Dave did a video recently where he was Dave was camping, and his RV backed up to the interstate, and he's standing at the interstate talking. And you're exactly right, Dave. It wasn't overpowered. It was you. We were hearing you. Was that the mic that you're wearing right now?
Yes.
That was amazing. That did really well.
When I edited it, I could hear, like, on the speakers in here, I could hear all the highway noise and the wind and everything. But once I started talking, it's like this microphone prioritized. That's where some of the higher end stuff will help with that sort of thing.
So Love and Life Hitched Up mentioned a comment about we haven't figured that part out yet. So we should say this probably at some point in every one of these. We know that not everybody has the editing programs or the equipment. So just take the ones that affect you or that can help you and listen to the people in the chat. They have great suggestions too. And just know that just do the little bits that you can. And if you can learn something, then maybe someday you can pull back from that if you get something that'll help you. Because I was thinking maybe they were talking about the transition part or something. So,
sorry, go ahead.
And so whatever you need to do to kind of help you, just grab the good parts. I mean, we're talking about everything a lot of times, and not everybody has access to it all, and we know that. So, and like they just said, now we use free editing software, iMovie.
That's what I use.
And there's free transitions and there's a lot of stuff in that one. That's all I used for my first year was that. But just you got to play with it and search stuff. And I think you did a great job. The only thing I thought about the music I wanted to mention, when you have a short list, like let's say you have less than 5 items, it might be fun to start out each item with a different background song. So that way you say, oh, we just changed gears. There's a new song started. And then you say number 3 is, and then number 2 is, and you can kind of build it up or build it down, but you can have a different song for each one. It might make it a little more flavorful. I don't know. Just a thought. I never thought about it before till now. So
we've talked before about just on this screen, there's different software. I'm an iMovie person. Dave, you use Adobe Premiere. And Donovan, what are you using now?
I use iMovie and Final Cut Pro. I paid
Final
for
Cut Pro. That's the next one up from iMovie.
Yes.
And Lance, what do you like?
I actually use the HD Movie Pro. That's like $12 from Windows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got enough editing features that I don't have to make them crazy looking and stuff. It's just a nice small package you could use for editing video.
I'm seeing in the chat we've got all different kinds. Dora and Ed use Filmora. On the Move uses a different tier of Filmora, I think. And Jag Family uses iMovie. I mean, that's cool that Art of Tiny Living uses InShot. And I think, that's really cool because you find what works for you and you learn to manipulate it for your needs. It's not about having a certain program. We all find what works best for us. And when you were talking, Donovan, about Loving Life Hitched Up was saying they hadn't figured out something just yet. You've got a book that you're swearing by right now. What's the one you're loving?
I have to take my Post-it notes off.
Shoot video that doesn't suck. Oh, how to shoot video that doesn't suck.
There's a follow-up to that book. It's like a part 2. It's how to post videos, but that's all it's called, how to post videos.
And have you read that book yet, Donovan?
I'm working up toward it.
Didn't you get that? You bought it like a year ago.
He's on page 6 of this video. His videos have gotten 6 pages better already. He's trucking.
Hey, real quick before we move on to the next one, I just wanted to point out one thing. When it comes to spending money on making videos for YouTube, a lot of people say that the number one thing that causes them to turn off a video is an audio problem.
Yep.
So if you were going to try to run cheap on everything, I would say that's fine. Just maybe spend more money on the microphone. Because this one, you can easily hook this up to an iPhone or a Samsung with a few little adapters. Shoot everything with your phone, do everything with iMovie, and then just spend a little extra on your audio. And that, I think, will help because that's one turnoff that people unanimously talk about. And
we've talked before about the quality of cameras on our phones these days. I mean, if you've got the newest version of whatever phone you have, your camera is incredible. Mine is a couple of versions old, and it fits my needs. So I think Dave's exactly right. Use the thing you've got at your disposal, spend some money on a microphone, and you're going to be real thrilled with how things turn out for you, I think.
I've also noticed that where people have had problems with their sound, they just put a banner at the bottom and saying, sorry for the wind noise, sorry for this. And even the big channels have done it before because they really want to show the footage of their video. and they don't want to really add music to it. They just want to show it, and they put a disclaimer saying we're sorry for the noise.
And just so On the Move knows, I do not get a cut from the sale of that book. I'm not the one that brings it up. Just don't forget that.
Somebody did ask. Oh, Squeeze the Day, I think, asked if you had an Amazon link. And I'm going to say right now, Donovan, if you do have an Amazon link for that, I am totally okay with you putting that in. However, last night on McGuire Monday, I talked about that book and I posted a link. You could have had the book on your way to your house right now. But I mean, Donovan, if you've got the link, go ahead and put it in. I mean, whatever. That's
all right.
Gosh. Y'all, the next video we're going to take a look at, this is On the Move. They were kind enough to share this with us, and they were doing a top six things to do in South Dakota. And the point at which we catch the video, they're on their number 2 thing. I'm not going to ruin it and tell you what number 1 is, but you want to head over to On the Move, because one thing that On the Move and Loving Life Hitched Up do is they find really cool places to go. So, I mean, I'll be honest, their video quality could be awful, and I'm still going to watch it because they go to such cool places and see such cool things. But On the Move this is a segment of their video that was, and links, by the way, are in the description to both of these videos. But this video is the top 6 things to do in South Dakota.
We decided to add this one into the video at number 2 because it was Cody's top pick of things to do in South Dakota. Number 2 on our list is to rent a UTV and take a trail ride through the Black Hills. It's a ton of fun.
Isn't that cool? I told you they have awesome adventures. That was their number 2 thing. And if you think that was cool, you definitely want to go and check out their number 1 thing. In a funny twist, I happen to know that Red and TJ from Loving Life Hitched Up are going to South Dakota this summer. So you're going to probably see their version of this same video coming up. So the first go round, we went Lance, then Donovan, then Dave. Let's go backwards this time. So Dave, why don't we start with you? Tell us what you found in this one.
Well, it was really interesting, cool, I would say, because this is the first video I ever watched from them. I was excited because I am from South Dakota, and plans are currently that I'm going to spend July in South Dakota, just on the other side of the state, Sioux Falls, where nobody goes for fun. It's just where everybody lives. At any rate, this video is awesome. I loved it. I don't know if Scott was laughing. I was jamming out to the music. The music selection was great. Let's see. Let's dig for some critiquing. The photographs were not moving. So I guess, a little something of making those photographs that are move ever so slightly would help out your video. And so you guys are doing a really great job already. So if you wanted to take it up another level, maybe get into a little bit of Casey Neistat style, where you guys actually stop the UTV, go set the camera over in the grass, and then show you zipping past, just to add a few more transitions to it, I think would have taken a great video to the next level. So I really enjoyed that video. Honestly, I could have cheated. I had like a paragraph that I typed months ago when I first watched this video. I should have gone back and read it.
Those are great tips, Dave. Donovan, what you got?
First of all, I'd just like to point out South Dakota is a great state. It doesn't have state taxes. My daughter was born there in Rapid City. Sioux Falls is a wonderful city, and just be careful because you will get mistaken as Sasquatch running around the Black Hills. So, I absolutely loved the music. It was at the fun tempo that the ride was, and I thought that was important. I I did, however, think you had the motor sound and the music competing at almost the same volume. And if you don't lower one and raise the other, it'll almost come out like noise more than what you intended. And anytime I hear like motor or something, unless you're like one of those NASCAR people that just, I got to hear that, lower the motor sound and let the music be just a little louder, just because it's a little less abrasive when you're watching a video. That was a suggestion for that. The other thing I absolutely thought was top notch was that final picture of that chapter was gold. I've watched this clip. This is the first video I saw of theirs, by the way, Dave. And that photo was just gold. It makes me smile every time I see it. So that part I absolutely loved. And if I had to pick another thing, the font that you used to start it, the font introducing that clip had words behind it in the same photo. So when you see the font, then you have the words behind it in the same one. And the font wasn't super clear because it was kind of a fancy font. It almost went by so fast I had to back up and read again because I was trying to read. There was 2 different levels of reading. So let's always think about something. If you put words on the screen, try to put it in a place that doesn't interfere with it. Otherwise, dude, I loved it.
That's a great recap, Donovan. That was awesome. Lance, what you got for us?
Oh, I just lost my screen here. It was a great video to picture mixture. Like some videos you'll see it's just all video. The video is all video. Or you'll see where they've got so many pictures and there's very little video, but they did a great job in mixing the video and the picture together. And the sound was really good too. There was one part there where there was very little or absolutely no wind noise from the microphone. So that was great as well. For a suggestion, I'm not a big fan of the techno music right now. I mean, a lot of people have been doing it for so long now. I think we need to transition to something else now. I don't know, even if it's country. Well, okay, maybe not country. But I'm an old rock and roll guy. I mean, if even a soft rock song or something, but so many people are using this techno. I'm with that those chipmunk noises that people are making in their videos. But I like I said, that's just personal preference for me. And the only thing I would also suggest is use widescreen for everything. I mean, everything that we watch videos on now is a widescreen monitor, or you turn your phone and you watch it widescreen, or your television. And people that are making these videos with the portrait mode, or even the 4:3 ratio, which I saw them use as well, I just like widescreen. I just like a big, motion picture feel to it when you're watching a YouTube video. So other than that, I mean, it was good. It was good. I liked the whole video, by the way.
Lance on the Muse said that maybe they'll redo it and put in some Jimi Hendrix. I think we're definitely onto something here. Since everybody else talked about music, I'm going to talk about music too. I like the music. I agree that the tempo was appropriate. The style, I think, was appropriate, and it fit the energy of the activity you were doing. And when it started, the music was building. You were telling us what was coming. It was building. You showed us the picture of where you're going, building. And then it hit that climax and then started the fast stuff, and you were still introducing the topic. I would like for you to have finished the introduction right as it hit that moment. It was when we watch it in a second, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was building. And then when it took off, you were still talking. And then the first thing you showed, you said, it's a ton of fun. And then you showed a picture, and it was static on the screen for 5 seconds. So you did all this building, and then it was static. And then we took off. I think you really could have maximized that with the music by you saying, hey, this was a really cool thing. It was a lot of fun. The music takes off, and you show us that first scene of you zipping down, and then throw in some photographs. And I think if we're going to put something that fast, like being in a ATV, you want the pictures to be on the screen for a short amount of time. I think that was a little bit too long for as fast as everything else was going. But I really, really, in addition to liking your music, I like the sounds. Sometimes, like Donovan said, the sounds can compete and they can be distracting. But the fact that there was laughing, there was excitement, there was screams of like joy, and even the engine noise I thought was really cool, because that combined with you having the camera in the back seat and we're seeing the driver, we're seeing the passenger, we're seeing out the windshield. I felt like I was there with you. I think all of that combined, that was really, really cool. If you look though at how you laid it out, how you put it all together, that first clip was really cool. The second clip was really cool. Then you got to the third one, and that was a bit of a dip. I think it was going across the field. I think if you're going to use all of those, I think I would have put them just in a different order so that the trajectory of your video, the intensity builds the whole time. And it's either you're going to build all the way through the video, or you put in some dips, but that's okay because everything else after it, I'm trying to see, am I going the right direction? Maybe I need to go this way. You want to build the whole time, and you were building it was really cool. And then there were a couple of dips that went just a little bit too low. So that'd be really my big thing is look at the storyboard and make sure you're building the whole time. But the action from the back seat, and my favorite scene in there was the mud on the windshield. Like, it was awesome. You're right there because we're watching, we see the mud puddle come and then splat right there on the screen. That was really cool. Y'all, we're going to go back around. We're going to do a round table. We're all going to discuss. I've got some questions for these guys here in just a second. But if you have some questions, put them in the chat. Or as we watch this right now, if there's something that you notice that we covered or something we didn't cover, like if we covered it and you go, oh, I do see that now, type it in the chat so we know that you're still with us. Or if you catch something that we didn't talk about yet, type it in the chat, because if you don't, when we finish this video, we're not going to have anything to talk about for the next 18 minutes. So give us something to talk about. So here's that same ATV ride now that we have an idea what we're looking at.
We decided to add this one into the video at number 2 because it was Cody's top pick of things to do in South Dakota. Number 2 on our list is to rent a UTV and take a trail ride through the Black Hills. It's a ton of fun.
It's just so much fun that wherever that place where you did your UTV, you need to share this video with them because they want to put that on their Facebook page or on their website, because it makes me want to go there right now. And I would say Dave can go there, but he's going to the other side of the state to be Sasquatch. So, I mean, that's cool. So a second ago, Dave, you said that instead of having the photos static and just sitting still, you said you'd like to see the photos moving. How do you do that? What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of times I go just with the simple of like having it like zoom in. I have in the past done other things where just maybe have the photos slightly moving in a different fashion, up or down. I even did one last summer. For our anniversary, we went and visited the Tower of Americas in downtown San Antonio. And when we did the elevator ride up, any photos that I put, I had them going in an upward motion. Then when we were up on the top, the tower actually turns ever so slightly. So any photos I used up there, I made a move in the same direction that the tower moved, even though it's so subtle you wouldn't even notice. And then for the end, I made all the photos go down. Just something goofy that popped in my head. It's like, I'm going to try it just for fun. At any rate, you don't have to just do a zoom in or out type thing. You can just make it move ever so slightly, because then that way it helps people their attention staying on your video.
You know, you said it was subtle and nobody would ever notice, but here's the thing. Most of us, when we watch a video, we know that something catches us. We know that something's exciting. We know we like something, but we couldn't necessarily put our finger on why. when we take the time and we do those subtle things, people go, oh, that was really neat. And they don't know what was really neat. They just know they liked the video. Put in the time, do the extra things, because while people may not call you up and go, oh my goodness, that was a really cool effect you did, what they will say is, that was a cool video. I don't know why, but I liked it. Put in the time to do those. That was great, Dave. Donovan, Lance, what else you got on this one?
Not the exact that scene, but another scene where they were walking, another part of the video. They're using the GoPro and they're walking down a path. And I don't know if you guys noticed that the GoPros, when you're using them, they're always, the scene goes up and down like this when you're walking with one of them. What I've seen now, and it's obviously it'll cost money, but a lot of YouTubers are now putting the GoPros on a gimbal now to even get rid of that motion. So you got double the smoothness. Yeah. So, because I've done some walking videos too, and it's like, I don't know if people are going to enjoy that walking, and it's, you know, everything's going like this as you're walking. The background's fine, but they can just tell that it's your steps, and the GoPros just still don't have that smoothness yet as a gimbal does. So I've seen YouTubers put them on a gimbal.
Yeah, the gimbal is a game changer. If you guys are if you've made that investment, like Dave said, in the audio, and you're looking to make an investment in the video, but your camera that you're currently using is sufficient, a gimbal, it doesn't have to be a ton of money, but it can smooth out shots, and it can do some things really smoothly. If you're, like I've talked about before, I get motion sick really easily, and so I have to limit the amount of time I watch some YouTube videos, because sitting this close to the screen, it really makes me nauseated. But so many people now are using those gimbals, and it's really smooth. I think you're exactly right, Lance. That adds a whole lot.
Yeah.
So one thing, there's two things I want to talk about. One, if you're going to show a map and it's a simple map, you don't really need to highlight anything. But when you show a detailed map, that thing had so many places and stuff on it, and I saw some red and some yellow. Go ahead and circle it, put an arrow at it, you know, highlight it, do something so they know what part you were at. Because when you were showing the map, I was like, I have no idea where they are. So that's, if you're going to show one, I'm just trying to say highlight your spot. And then the other thing is, I want to go back to the music and the motor thing. So what I've done in my videos where I've had that situation is I have the music at a certain level, and then I have the motor down low. But when something exciting happens, I jack the motor side up. So when they're screaming, that came loud over everything. And then it goes back to the normal where the music's a little higher than the motor. And when they all scream again, I jack just that part up. So it makes it feel even more exciting because the screams and stuff elevated everything. So that's one way to put more energy using just sound only, especially because it was already fun to do, right?
I just wanted to say one more thing, Scott, was that it was great resolution. It was high resolution pictures, high resolution video, and the cameras, whatever cameras they're using using really good cameras. So,
and then the last thing I also had was the other part of the music thing I wanted to mention was you have the part where you try to hit the screams either on the biggest beat of the song, or when the melody stops and gets ready to start again, have the screams hit in the middle, and even pause the music there. So the music stops, the scream happens, and then the melody starts again. That can be so effective and really draw attention and make it exciting. I would have liked to seen the drive down the road a lot less, and just saw those few big moments would have kept the excitement the whole time for me. I don't know if that makes it too short a segment or not, but you got to tell the story. And the long drive, the part that was like 10 seconds long, I wouldn't do it that long if I did it at all, only because I didn't feel like that was a story that brought the story further. As soon as the water hit, I would have popped right to the kid doing the thumbs up, so excited. I mean, I'd have just jumped right in there and made that whole thing just one solid excitement. But that's how I was feeling.
Hey, one music tip I would offer. I think that's awesome what Donovan just said. Make it line up with the music, or make it line up with the space in the music, or create the space in the music. One thing you can do if you guys are using a service like Donovan, what's the one you use?
Epidemic Sound.
Epidemic Sound, or and what's the one I use?
Artlist.
art list. If you're going to a place where they've got copyright music where you're paying a subscription, a lot of times when you go to download this, you can download 2 versions of the song. There's the one with the singing and there's the one without the singing. And if you're using one with singing, sometimes I'll put them both in. And then when I get to a spot where I've got some dialogue or I need something to happen, I'll cut and I'll go to the one without. And so then I start with the singing and then it goes to the one without the singing for a little bit. Then I'll come back to the singing. Or like Donovan's saying, when you give yourself permission to, those tunes are not published to be like, hey, sit in your car and listen to this. They're published for this purpose. When you give yourself permission to chop it up and move stuff around, and change the order, do what fits the video. That's what those creators intended. They want you to make the most of it. So cut the thing up. Don't feel like you've got to make it fit. You've just got to make it fit what you need it to fit. So that's a tip I would offer to everybody to free yourself up a little bit.
I can't believe you complimented me twice in the show. I almost don't feel like this is VidLift today.
I haven't done it once, so.
I'm not feeling so well.
Okay. I knew there was something wrong.
The Art of Tiny Living talked about recording on their phones, and I wanted to bring up an app real quick that maybe people that are watching aren't familiar with. Has anybody heard of the app Filmic Pro? It's an app that costs $20, and what it does is it unlocks a whole lot more features of your phone on your camera. It gives you some of the features that sometimes you would only see in a bigger, more expensive camera. So if you've already got an okay or decent phone, look into Filmic Pro. I've played with it. It's got more they call it in-body image stabilization, things like that. It does a better job with, because the app that comes with your phone is often kind of just dumbed down for just simple usage. So if you're advancing and you want to do more, but you don't have the money to go buy a big camera, $20 for this app is going to unlock and help you to start down the path of learning about ISO and shutter speeds and all kinds of things like that.
What about, can you quickly tell us, Dave, there are lenses you say that can go on your camera? Isn't that a thing?
Yes, there's actually several different brands. I've gone with the brand Moment. The lenses are anywhere from $100 to $150. Typically, you would need a case. Their cases are like $30. I'm upset with them because they won't make a case for my new phone. So I am using my old phone with those lenses because it makes a great movie camera for me. My favorite setup is a $150 anamorphic lens mounted to my old phone on a gimbal. It actually works out to making better cinematic looking footage when I'm out at a state park than the camera I'm playing with right now. So
the Jag family said in the chat, does it sound like you're being cheap when you use the YouTube Studio free music? I think we would all agree you do what works for you. And
yes.
if you're finding, I think Steve Turtle told us a couple weeks ago, that's what he uses. You do what works for you. And if you're finding what's appropriate for your videos, use that. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's been a lot of talk in the chat. It was a couple of minutes ago about Storyboard. One of us it might have been me. I said Storyboard, and so people are asking, "Do you do that?" If I'm doing like a how-to video, I will sit down and outline and even script out a video like that. If I'm doing a travel vlog where I've been somewhere, most of the time I put my video into my editor chronologically that it was filmed. And then I go move things around, chop things up, and that's how I edit. But if you wanted to storyboard, sometimes you can film and then lay out your plan before you put it into your editor, and that would minimize the amount of editing you've got to do. It'll make some of that work easier. But one thing I would advise all of us to take a look at is when you're planning your video, decide how often. I feel like there's a formula for this somewhere. How often do you need a moment? If it's going to be a shorter, a longer, slower video, maybe you need a moment every 30, 45 seconds, a minute. If it's going to be a fast-paced moment, a fast-paced video, you might need a moment every 4, 5, 6 seconds, something happening. But a moment could be something in the music, like a big swell in the music. It could be something visual, like the mud hitting the screen. It could be something in the story. You're telling a story and there's been a big moment in the story. It could be just some excitement. You're displaying excitement or emotion. It could be that everything's been moving along and now you're showing a photo. But plan something. And I would advise you, if you've not done a storyboard and you've just done editing like what I just described for your travel vlog, then go back into your video before you publish it and decide, how often do I need a moment to happen? How long can I go before I get bored? And then watch your video only from that perspective. Don't be entertained by it. Just watch it and say, okay, it's been 6 seconds. What's happening right here? And if you're not creating a moment with one of those tools, then go back and see, what could I do? What could I do to change that and make that a little more exciting? Dave, Donovan, Lance, what would you say about that?
Storyboard, if you're not someone who can write it down, if you're not someone who wants to write a script, what you can do is number your video files in the order you think you'd like. Pop them all in there, and that way first. Watch it without your cuts yet, and then see, do I need to move any of these? But at least try to think of it before you put it in there, so that you have an idea, you have a base for your story of how you think it should go, and then you can adjust for the excitement factor and all that.
Loving Life Hitched Up is telling us every 8 to 10 seconds. And I think that's a good average. If you want to move faster, you do it sooner than that. If you're taking your time, 5.
I like 5.
Taking your time, it might be that you go longer. Donovan, that's a great tip. Dave,
most commercials are 3 to 5 seconds.
If you watch one of those fast-paced commercials, try to count how often they're changing clips. It's literally a second or less. And you don't realize it when you watch it. It's just keeping your attention. I wouldn't suggest you do that for an entire YouTube video. You're going to lose your marbles. But I would advise you go find a video that really holds your attention. Go back and rewatch the first 15 seconds and count how many things happen in the first 15 seconds. It's going to blow your mind. Whether it's a still image or a video or a scene change or a talking head or something in the music, it's going to blow your mind. Lance, Dave, what do you think? We're nearing the end. What are your parting words of wisdom?
Whatever Lance has got, I've got a change of subject. So, Lance, take it away.
I've got nothing. I'm done.
All right.
I give these people the good ratings on their videos, suggestions to make. I'm no professional, but for watching thousands of YouTube videos in the last few years, I just know what I'm enjoying and what I'm not enjoying. So all I can do is make suggestions but everybody makes good videos. And there's not very many videos that are so bad now. So
yeah, I'd like to thank Lance for being here today and filling in for the old guy by showing up and saying, darn young people and their techno music.
Yeah. These old guys just got to go. That's why I came in here. So I'm sure I'm much younger than all three of you. So that's why I came over.
No, you're not. Whatever.
Yes, I am. Shh.
All right. Well, Scott, if I could take just a few seconds to talk about something I've done the last couple of days that I think would actually benefit the people that watch this. I did 3 live streams where I shared with people my process from start to finish of creating a video for Texas Family Camping. They were an hour and a half each live stream. Last night, RV on the Wayside and Nursing Our Travel Bug hung out with me almost the whole time. They helped me pick out my picture for my next thumbnail. We had a lot of good, deep discussion about a lot of YouTube-related stuff and making videos. So if there's anybody that wants to see how I make videos, go to Texas Family Live, and those 3 are there. And I literally started, how to make my hook and everything. And people were watching that day, and they were like, this is just neat because I was vocalizing my thought processes as I was making a video. And they got to see extra clips and stuff that I didn't use and why I didn't use it. So if anybody would benefit from that, by all means, come check it out.
So you did read the book on how to post a video. Oh.
And you can find, guys, the link to Texas Family Live in the description for this video. You can find a link to all of our channels down there. You can find a link to Loving Life Hitched Up and On the Move, links to their videos. Definitely go support each other. If you've met somebody new in the chat tonight, definitely go check them out. We are out of time. We will see you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern on Texas Family Life.